cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
This is the Super Secret Sunday Show, which I have not done in a while, and I am back. I'm back in the saddle again, to quote Steven Tyler. Hello. Yes, that was also some country cowboy crooner guy back in the 50s. Welcome to Mike's Daily Podcast, episode 1567.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valleymont. Today, we hear from
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. And there's so much for you to learn about, incidentally, like the thing about the Olympics. And I have to say, I am not finding any words that rhyme with Olympics in my head. Damn it.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Sympics, Tempic, Hempics, Relympics,
Mike's
Gimpics.
Daily
No, that's not one.
Podcast.
Oh well, it was a fail.
Yeah!
A lyric fail, per usual. Hey, that was the name of the last show, is Usual. What will be the name of this one? I don't know. But I am happy that I saw on Instagram my friend Sylvia, who is in Portugal, posted something. Oh, look who just walked in. Hello, my comments with Madame Rootabega, and happy Secret Sunday to you. Ooh. Thank you, yes. I can't believe it's super Secret Sunday. And yeah, we have this. What else is happening?
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, we're happy to be here today at the happiest place on earth. Cafe Anyway.
Yes, the last place on earth. The happiest place on earth. Something like that. And I know this thing's going to pop up and ask me for the podcast picture, which, of course, as usual, I haven't found it yet. I need to be on top of these things. But then again, I don't need to be that hard on myself, do I? Hey, okay, I did want to bring something up.
Here's today's podcast picture.
I'm not going to post a picture of my mom's late great boyfriend, Mike, who passed away last month. But Mike said something. I have to repeat it. So we were having dinner. This was in September, last time I saw him. And he said something to the effect of, oh my gosh, the liberals, because he, of course, being conservative. He said, and my mom's very conservative. That's what they connected on so much. He goes, hey, the turtles, why here in Florida we have to protect the stupid turtles? Oh, hey, Basil. Basil loves turtles. I don't think he's ever met a turtle. He's met a lizard. He's met those type of reptiles. But he goes, yeah, why do we spend all this money protecting turtles? I used to eat turtle soup. It was delicious. And my mom goes, oh, yeah, turtle soup was so good. And Mike was, yeah, turtle soup is delicious. And they went on and on about turtle soup. And I'm saying, okay, yeah, I was just in their world, so I enjoyed Mike, I enjoyed my mom, I enjoyed Florida, I enjoyed their conservative little world they live in, but then I get back home to the Bay Area, to liberal land, and I'm like, wait a minute! So what you're saying is, we should go ahead and eat this very rare turtle to the point of extinction, so that my grandkids, which I will never have because I never have a date with a woman because I have these issues with dating women right now because I've had so many relationships go belly up. And we can go into that in a moment because that kept me up last night thanks to the wonderful coffee I was drinking at KKIQ yesterday. And that's why I'm recording this show today. I am here at 6 a.m. I had to go to bed super early, which I did not do because my dog, Basil the Boxer, lovingly woke me up every 5 minutes last night. So here's my point is, You're saying you're going to eat the last turtle and your grandkids will never, ever, ever get to see that turtle. Yet you get to eat this soup that has bits of meat that, you know what? For all you know, that meat in a soup, when you put meat in a soup, the meat can be anything. Really. You can't tell. It's being boiled. It's wallowing around in this broth. You're tasting all the other spices and the creams and everything else put into the soup. You're not tasting the meat. What is the point of putting an endangered... So as you see, I then logically went through this. And a lot of conservatives will tell you, well, you cease to become a liberal when you start to think pragmatically. And that's what conservatives do. They think pragmatically. They don't think emotionally, which that can explain both sides of the extremes. But yeah, you can't tell one meat from the other when it's same thing with like a burrito. You really can't unless you get a delicious al pastor. But then it's, I've had cabeza and I don't know, I couldn't tell the difference. I'm eating a cow's brain? I don't know. And I should have a cow. Maybe I'll have a cow moo right there. Hey, I just really, that irritates me. And I thought about it later, and no disrespect to my great friend Mike, but dang it, I wish I had this discussion with him, this debate with him. You cannot. Poor turtles. So, anyway, I get, you know what? Turtle soup was big because there were a lot of turtles at the time. And maybe they weren't eating the endangered ones. I don't know. Cafe, I don't know. I mean, cafe
Anyway, I love that.
But I do love the fact that, oh my gosh. Oh, so the podcast picture, well, we mentioned cows and cabeza. How about we go back, let's see, 3 years ago. Yeah, this is almost 3 years ago to the day. Back in January of 2015, I was walking my wonderful dog, Basil the Boxer, in an area that last I checked, you can't walk here anymore. I'm not too far, actually, from where this is. In Dublin, California, it used to be a trail. But last time I tried to go on this trail, every fence that would allow you to go onto this trail was locked. And it's right next to this area with a lot of homes. And I think it's a lot of uppity people, a lot of uppity Bay Area people that do not want people walking on this trail, because that would mean the trail is kind of on a hill above their houses, and that would mean the people could see into their backyards, and I think people got irritated about it, so they closed it down, which sucks because the trail only opened in 2010. So they have cows that graze on this trail, and I got this cool picture of these 3 cows. So you can see that at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Also see the wonderful interviews listen to the wonderful interviews that I did. I did a whole bunch. Now, the show has been going on now for, I think, since, when did I start this? May of 2011. In 2010, I had a different show called Last Place on Earth, which is similar to this show. It was basically this show. But then I said, you know what? Nobody knows what the last place on Earth is. I'm going to be very explicit with the name. My name is Mike. This is a podcast, and I do it daily, or that's the attempt anyway. And then I changed the name in 2011, and the name has been ever since. And there's the website, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, and the interviews. And I was just thinking, I never talk about the interviews that I've done. And I used to really enjoy, I would hear music by these bands. I download a lot of indie bands. There used to be not some more, well, for example, what's that frickin' store with all the hipsters? And the one that you go in and it's way too, not Anthropology. It's like Anthropology. But you go in there and they've got like vinyl, and they've got these shirts that I may have even bought a shirt there. I know I bought a hat there. Urban Outfitters. Thank you. Urban Outfitters. I bought like an $11 hat there that I still have that's very warm and makes me look like a little too old to be a hipster. And they used to have this thing on their website that I discovered. I don't think anybody knew about this. It was called Music Mondays. And you would click on their website and this Music Mondays link. And on Monday, they would have like 5 or 6 free songs to download for free. And I would download those songs. And sometimes I would hear something and I'd go, this is awesome. I wonder, since this band is like nobody knows who this band is, if I would be able to interview them and get them on the show and then play one of their songs or something. And that's what I used to do. So I talked to a lot of cool bands back in that time that one got really big. I talked to a lot of bands and only one got really big, and that was Saint Motel. They had that song, gotta get up, move, na. But I talked to, like, if I go through the A to F section, Ages and Ages, Alyssa Morrissey, beautiful girl. She was actually a country singer. I had a lot of indie rock bands, but a great guy named Michael Shaw, who's local Bay Area guy, pianist, Billy Joel-esque. Angeline Saris. Now, I met her in person, and she used to be in a all-female Led Zeppelin tribute band, but she just actually resigned from that band. I found out on Facebook, which is also where I found out about a woman that's in radio, that she posts, well, she's in radio, but she also has in her About section on Facebook that she is the manager of her daughter. Yes, she is a showbiz mom, and she's the manager of her daughter, which just made me go, I cringed a tad. Because, first off, I don't think anyone should have a manager. Managers really don't do anything. They are, I guess, your personal assistant. They get paid. They get a percentage of your money. But the agent is the one that's actually supposed to go out and get you work. The agent is the one that gets a percentage, but goes out and gets you work so that you're getting money and he's getting or she's getting money. The manager, I don't know. That's a little more iffy. This is how I was explained about it. I think my dad explained this to me, being he had been in showbiz all of his life in the movie biz. And so I do not trust managers, and to have your mom as your manager, that's all kinds of trouble. So I saw that and went, what? In radio? Okay. Why I am... Oh, and one other person that I know, and Kevin, who is a fan of the show, and I'm a fan of Kevin's, and his posts on Facebook have just been busting me up lately. He was talking about the game last night between Russia and Germany. The hockey game in the Olympics was like two countries fighting for a jungle, which I thought was funny. It was well put, Kevin, well put. And his posts are hilarious. And this guy we both know, this guy we know he's really into sports. He has to comment on any sports game going on. And when you read his posts, and you are, well, not into sports like myself, his posts make no sense whatsoever. Then the same guy, posts pictures with porn stars. So that's kind of, you can't really, if you had a girlfriend, unless she was into that sort of thing, that's like, yeah, that's my friend, so-and-so, he's into porn stars and goes to porn conventions and meets them. So he has his own issues. He got banned off of Facebook after posting some pictures with the porn stars from Las Vegas. But whatever. Cafe anyway. And we've been going for how long now? Almost 15 minutes. And I haven't gotten to the fact why I don't date women. I would love to date women. I have a friend who I would love to date. Turns out now she's, she jumps from guy to guy, and she's a free spirit. And I've been burned by free spirits. I just don't. I understand. But the thing is, I'm a romantic. I believe in love. moi, c'est easy. Wait, I tried to speak French, and I don't think I said anything there just then. But what happens is, I'll meet a Yeti. I mean, a lady. Maybe I'll meet a lady that's a Yeti. And let's say I meet this Yeti lady. And we, by the way, I was watching on YouTube, as per usual, I was watching stuff on Disneyland and Disney World, and this special I watched, I don't know how old it is, but they were talking about how they were going to make at that Disney World park, the one that's all about animals, Animal Kingdom or whatever they call it, that they were going to make this roller coaster that had a big Yeti in it, and they mentioned how they have a Yeti at the one in Anaheim, the Matterhorn, and Yeti is just the greatest word ever. But it is, I thought, have they even made that ride yet? Why haven't I heard? I don't think I've heard anything about that. But my point being that, so I love women, but the thing is, like, what can be very attractive is when an attractive woman likes you, right? And what happens is, though, sometimes when that happens, you have to be careful when you're falling in love with someone that you're not putting on the glasses, right? The beer barrel glasses, the bottom of the barrel glasses, the beer bottle glasses is what I'm saying, and rose-colored glasses, and you don't see them because you're in love. A lot of people do this. You don't see them for what they really are, and then all of a sudden, bam! It hits you like a ton of bricks, like a bunch of things falling down on top of you. And you go, oh my God. And the realization, I've had that happen so many times, where I suddenly go, like this last time it happened was with the girl I met on a dating website that rhymes with OkCupid. And she was very nice and friendly. And we went out on a date. We met. And we just talked and had dinner and dessert, and then she drove off, and that was it. But nobody went over to anybody's houses or anything. And then I didn't talk to her for a while, and she said something on Facebook, and I commented on it. And then she started texting me like, "Oh my God, you commented on a Facebook post." And this is after a month after we dated, and I guess I wasn't that into her. I don't know what happened. And then she's like, "Do you want to get dinner?" And I go out to dinner with her, and then we start getting romantic, and she's all friendly and nice. And about 2 or 3 dates in, all of a sudden she becomes, I guess, her real self. She brings down the guard, and becomes herself. And she was not on the inside very nice. And so I was, what happened? It's happened again, is what's happened. And I said to myself, never again. Never. This has happened to me countless times, and I'm done with it. I am not that stupid. I should be able to see through the fluff, the BS, and I mean brilliant sunshine that is sent through their beauty, the beautiful sunshine, the beautiful BS that clouds my judgment, and I'm not going to do that anymore. So that is why I've been hesitating with dating the women. And, but Mike, you should just go have fun. Just go get some crazy you-know-what. Just do that. No. I am done. I don't have the patience for the crazy you-know-what. I don't know what I want, and thus I'm not dating. The end. But let's jump over to the beautiful Kelsey Harkness. Who is she? Oh, she was the innocent bystander sitting right next to the woman who had a lot to say at the CPAC meeting yesterday. Oh, I have this saved. Yes. Oh, first off, before we jump off of that, when Walt Disney World opened, Walt Disney parks, whenever they have a new thing, whenever they open a new park, like when they opened the Disney California, they do these big specials on TV that feature a lot of stars. It's the grand opening of Walt Disney World, featuring guests like John Denver.
To do with what I will.
Oh, that's not John Denver. Julie Andrews. Oh, the hilarious Bob Hope.
By Pluto.
And who could watch a special without Gilligan?
I see the legs here are in.
Oh, wait, that's not Gilligan. That's John Winters. This is bad quality video.
And I love this campsite. It's just fantastic. Margaret, come on. Get a hold of yourself. Here, let's get up. You've got to straighten up here a little bit.
Oh, this is...
Bend over, Margaret. Here, straighten up.
And then they have all this dancing going on. Where's the dancing? I want the dancing. The dancing I saw was just horrid.
Once again, have you?
What is he saying?
Margaret.
Oh, that's Glenn Campbell. Such a talent. Why is he doing this? He needed the money. And now he's in heaven. And he's going, eh.
Don't cash your chips and keep winning instead.
Now they're dancing.
Like he's a kumquat. Like somebody said.
What the? Okay. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the Super Secret Sunday show. Help out the show through MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. It's the wonderful website that features all the past shows and podcast pictures like of cows. And it also features the wonderful past interviews that I've done. Oh, that's what I was going to play. Okay. So, did you hear about this?
I'm disappointed in people on our side.
Okay.
This is conservative writer Mona Charen.
Sexual harassers and abusers of women who are in our party, who are sitting in the White House.
At CPAC yesterday.
About their extramarital affairs, who brag about mistreating women. And
sitting right next to her is this gorgeous, unbelievable, legs going up into the heavens, blonde with glasses, my weakness, named Kelsey Harkness. And I looked up this girl, this 20-something. What's the deal? Who is she? Why are there so many hot conservatives? Hot blonde conservatives. And I look her up, and she's got a podcast. So I look up you can't find her podcast. It just says on her bio she has a podcast. Where is it? I don't know. I looked it up I look her up on Twitter. All there is on her Twitter feed is other people posting stuff on her Twitter feed that she knows. Or she retweets other people, she doesn't say anything. She's just this opportunistic hottie who's found a niche. Because if she's conservative, that means all these old white racist men are going to see her and go, I'm been married for 50 years to this ogre, and look at her. Ooh, hotsy totsy. Hachi machi. And so here is Mona Charen, who's older, who has seen life, who has worked out logistically, phonetically, smartly, all the things in the world. She's conservative, but hey, wait a minute. What's going on with the conservative values of the party that I believe in? What's going on with this double standard of hey, we can yell all about Al Franken being this pervert and he should be out of the Senate, etc. And yet we want Roy Moore to be governor of Alabama, that crazy Republican, youngster molesting jerk.
And abusers of women who are in our party, who are sitting in the White House, who brag about their extramarital affairs, who brag...
Okay, right at that point, Kelsey Harkness, hottie Kelsey Harkness, looks so uncomfortable. She's like, how am I'm sitting here, I am getting the residual fire, I'm too close to this, I want to get up and leave right now, as fast as my hot legs will take me.
Brag about mistreating women, and because he happens to have an R after his name, we look the other way, we don't complain. This is a party that was ready to endorse, the Republican Party endorsed Roy Moore for the Senate in the state of Alabama, even though he...
Okay, there's a hottie next to Kelsey Harkness. There's a lot of hotties on this panel. Oh, as we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. We're outside now. And that's how it should be, my friend. Being outside, the great outdoors, talking about molesters. But Mona Charen... Oh, the girl in pink next to Kelsey Harkness, she is shaking her head like, yeah, I'm agreeing with what Mona's saying here.
He was a credible...
Kelsey Harkness, however, is, wait a minute, I appeal to hardcore conservatives, and I'm in this short skirt. I want to be on Fox.
Accused child molester. You cannot claim that you stand for women.
Okay, now you got all the southern fat women in the audience going, not true. Roy Moore was an excellent candidate. Those women with their allegations, they were liars. All of them, liars.
And put up with that.
Mona Charen is having to shake her head and go, oh, God. Oh, man. I guess I've read the level. I've read this audience wrong. The level of this crowd is crap.
Well, you know, this is a really interesting point because there's been this, and there are many.
Lock her up! Lock her up!
But there's been this explosion of sexual harassment.
So that's I don't know the name of her, the one who was. It took me forever, by the way, to find out who that Kelsey Harkness was the name of the lady sitting next to Mona Charen. I don't know who is actually... But, okay, so then Mona calls out Marine Le Pen's daughter, and that Marine Le Pen...
Actually,
what are you even saying, woman shouting in the audience? Shut up.
From France. I think the only reason she was here is because
the daughter of Marine Le Pen was there at CPAC.
From France. I think the only reason she was here is because she's named Le Pen. And the Le Pen name is a disgrace. Her grandfather is a racist and a Nazi. She claimed...
4 guys in the audience clapped when she said that. The Daily whatever tried to track down those guys that were clapping, and they were gone from the audience once because they knew they were going to get in trouble for applauding Mona Charen. Okay.
That she stands...
Mona Charen was then escorted out by several security guards.
For him. And the fact that CPAC invited her is a disgrace. Well...
Yeah, lock her up. What? Huh? God. Okay, I have just completely... I know. Oh, Amy Shively Hawk, who's also on C-SPAN. I think you can find that panel I just was telling you about on C-SPAN. Amy Shively Hawk, who I see on C-SPAN all the time now, talking about her late father that was in the Vietnam War. She's lovely, and I wanted to point that out, as well as that Imagine Dragons video is cool. The last 2 they did. One is for Thunder. Oh my gosh, there's some double-jointed dancing in that I don't think anyone should do, but it looks amazing. It looks dangerous, though. Like you put your arm next in your ear hole, and you'll be stuck like that. But then they have this other one called Whatever It Takes, and they're suddenly underwater, then they're on fire. It's amazing. I love it. Okay, I think I've covered everything. Woohoo! Woo! Everything was covered on Mike's Daily Podcast except for Lanny Davis, who I also saw on C-SPAN. Lanny Davis is someone who is very much in the belief, hates James Comey, because James Comey said, oh my gosh, there's some more emails we got to look at that concern Hillary Clinton just before the election. He says because of that, Hillary lost the election, and that echoes what Trump said when he fired James Comey, which has gotten Trump into a bunch of hot water. But look up that interview. Lanny Davis, he wrote this whole thing about that. That's the crux of his book, his latest book. And he was taking on, it was a live show, and people were asking him questions and accusing him of being the puppet for liberal lefties. And he admitted he likes Bernie Sanders, but he said no. Hillary Clinton beat Bernie, and despite whatever controversies happened. But it was fascinating to hear him talk. So Lanny Davis, and he has a lot to say about how James Comey messed up everything, and that's what the Republicans believe too. So James Comey, not the best place to be at. Garrison Keillor described several sexual misconduct, suggestive emails he exchanged with a former researcher. Garrison Keillor used to host the Prairie Home Companion Show, which then Chris Thiele took over to make a show called Live from Here. He said Garrison Keillor described several sexually suggestive emails he exchanged with a former researcher who accused him of sexual misconduct. He described those emails as romantic writing that never resulted in a physical relationship, and the radio host rejected the idea that because he was her boss and the driving force of a hugely popular radio program, it could be sexual harassment. The woman responded via her attorney that Garrison Keillor's power over her job made her afraid to say no to him. Then the political end to the Olympics. North Korea offers talks with the U.S. as the Olympic Games come to an end today. The overtly political 2018 Winter Olympics closed today very much as they began, with humanity's finest athletes marching. Senior North Korean official Kim Yong-chol, South Korean President Moon Jae-in, and U.S. presidential advisor and first daughter Ivanka Trump sat in 2 rows of seats behind the Olympic ring, meant to represent a competition of peace and international unity. In close proximity, though with no apparent communication between Trump and Kim, they watched a spirited, elaborate show that concluded the Pyeongchang Games. North Korea has ample intention of holding talks with the United States, according to the office, South Korea's presidential office. The North's delegation also agreed that South-North relations and U.S.-North Korean relations should be improved together. Moon's office said, the leader of South Korea. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach, just before declaring the games closed, addressed the two Koreas' cooperation at the closing ceremony, saying the Olympic Games are an homage to the past, an act an act of faith for the future. With your joint march, you have shared your faith in a peaceful future with all of us. You have shown our sports bring people together in our fragile world. You have shown how sports build bridges. And that, my friend, is fascinating, because Olympics have divided, in my lifetime, have divided. Jimmy Carter pulling the U.S. out of the Olympics because of Russia being there, Russia pulling themselves out of the Olympics. I forget which games that was, and on and on and on. And then going back to World War II and Hitler, with being at the games as it was hosted in Berlin, was it? Somewhere in Germany. Oh, but this is interesting. We shall see if it makes for peace in our world. Interesting, as we were wrapping up the show, conservatives amplified Russian trolls 30 times more often than liberals did in 2016 on Twitter to retweet Russian trolls, according to a new study from researchers at the University of Southern California. It traced Russian efforts to influence America's 2016 presidential campaign via Twitter, using 45 million election-related tweets generated by 5.7 million users in a 1-month period ahead of the election. Researchers delved into what information was spread by trolls who spread it and how many times those tweets were shared. It's interesting that people will retweet something that they think is, oh, nobody else is seeing this. They've got to see this. Nobody else knows about this. That's why no one ever retweets my shows, because they know everybody else knows about it. So, 2 incidents hit the Miami Herald in recent days that demonstrate new tactics by those seeking to discredit mainstream media. And they augur what experts say are dark days in the battle between credible news and misinformation. Both incidents, of course, after the high school shooting in Parkland, Florida. In the first incident, someone used a software tool to create 2 fake Twitter posts that looked like they came from the account of Alex Harris, a Herald reporter preparing tributes to the slain students. One fake post asked for photos of dead bodies at the school, and another asked if the shooter was white. The reporter almost immediately began getting angry messages. In the second incident, someone used a software to create a phony Miami Herald story in the high tension after the Parkland shooting, saying that a Miami-Dade middle school faced threats of potentially catastrophic events on upcoming dates, indicating that a new mass shooting was coming. And that was passed along on Twitter and Snapchat. So and they have already found that Russian bots are posting insightful comments that lead back to this shooting as well. But let's go back to the Olympics. NBC's $12 billion investment is looking riskier. They paid for the rights for the next 4 Olympics 3 years. In 2011, they paid for the rights for the next 4 Olympics. 3 years later, it bought another 6 for $7.7 billion. The deals look to many like a sure thing. Now they have started looking like they could end up being more of a burden than a boon. For years, the conventional wisdom was that people would tune into the sport, but in 2012, viewership of the London Games was up, but in the past 2 years, sports have fallen victim to the same trends plaguing the broader industry. I don't know about this article, because I knew a lot of people that were into the Olympics this year. So shut up, CNN. That's where that came from. Emergency dispatchers in Elk Grove and Sacramento County are seeing an influx of false alarms 911 calls from an Apple repair and refurbishing center off Laguna Boulevard in Sacramento. Okay, we'll jump through that, get past that. North Korea reportedly willing to conduct talks with the U.S. at the end of the Olympics, as I was mentioning earlier. And after a testy call, however, not talking with Trump will be the Mexican president, Enrique Peña Nieto. It was scuttled this week after a testy call between the two leaders ended in an impasse over Trump's promised border. Oh, well, that's the end of the show. I hope you enjoyed it. We did a lot, didn't we? Okay. Enjoy the cow picture. Enjoy the Yeti. Enjoy the barrel that you're using to see your loved one. Or hopefully you see them for who they are. And I think that's what makes a good relationship, is that you know what? There's some stuff you don't want to see, I understand, but, if you really love them, then you'll be Stevie Wonderful together forever. Have a great day. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!